On this episode of Postframe 360, I welcome Barry Hoffman with GreenPost. Barry joined the industry in '93 in the truss design space, and it wasn't until '04 when he created this wonderful product called GreenPost. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, we have talked a lot about GreenPost. It's a great product, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it and sharing that with you today. Hey guys, welcome back to Postframe 360. I'm your host, Josh Nolan, and with me I have a special guest today, Barry from GreenPost. How you doing, Barry?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you again.
Good. So this is, you said you're not a connoisseur of podcasts, but that's okay. We're here to make it easy on you.
There's a first time for everything, even at my age.
That's right. So we try to keep it simple on 360. We keep it around 25 minutes, try to keep it interesting to, the guys, our audience is the guys, the clients of ours, people in the crew truck heading to the job site.
Gotcha.
And so, but I got to meet you for the first time at the NFBA show this year.
That's correct. Yeah, it was good meeting your whole crew.
Yeah, you had a busy booth from what I understand.
I got to be honest with you, Josh. When we found out last year that the NFBA Expo was going to be in Oklahoma City, we kind of had reservations because we really hadn't done much business with GreenPost down through that neck of the woods. And as I have come to learn, some of the attitude is that's where steel takes a place of wood in that area of the country, geography going that far south. So we had no idea what to expect. And I'm going to tell you something. I have been attending NFBA Expo since 2000, and that by far has been our best show ever.
Wow. That's
Seriously.
a big deal.
It is.
And I'm on, a lot of our listeners know I'm on the NFBA board. So
Right.
I have, we're involved in trying to plan future locations and things of that nature. And you're right. There are a lot of people worried about OKC, but I think you're still good in Oklahoma. When you get down into Texas, that's where the heavy steel starts, especially south of Dallas,
Right.
Texas. So, but yeah, you had a great show. So that's good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I got to see your product, get introduced to your product at the show. You talked to the entire Burroughs team there, and you work with one of our sister companies, Richland Columns.
Yes.
And I can tell you the buzz from the show is real, and we have a lot of clients interested in your product, and we've already moved some. I think we ordered another truck, like our second truckload, just since the NFBA show, which is awesome.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. For you guys to come. And that's the conversation I just had with the guys at our end this morning on another issue. For somebody like yourself to come on board and have the interest generated, the quality of the builders that you guys deal with are a true sign of why you guys are so successful. The crew, the Burroughs crew that I met, it's easy to see why you guys do the amount of business you do.
Yeah. Well, we try to treat our customers right. We try to have, the products they're asking for today, as well as bringing in new innovation like GreenPost. So, maybe if our listeners have, just joined the podcast or they didn't make the NFBA show, why don't you kind of give the rundown about GreenPost and what we're doing here?
Okay. GreenPost is a product that we started developing here in early 2000 here in the U.S. Originally, I started out as the first customer, myself and a partner at the time. We started out as the first customer for the GreenPost venture back then. And the product came from the UK, and I had to bring a container load over what was back then a welded boot, which was more along the lines, if you could picture the post protector, if you will. But it was still a flexible polyethylene boot, and it had the bitumen on the inside. And we simply slid that boot onto the post and then heated it, melted the bitumen, sealed it, the boot itself up. But it was a low density polyethylene, and we found out very quickly that was originally designed for fence posts in the UK. And we found out that for post frame construction, summertime, 95 degrees, job site environment, throwing things around, the low density polyethylene would soften up and it would be a problem handling on the job site. So we had to go to the invention board, if you will, for lack of clean. And we had to develop our blend of proprietary blend of polyethylene I had to introduce high density, low density, and it took about 2 years until we came up with the blend that we have that gets hard, it stiffens up. I don't care if it's 100 degrees for a week or if it's 3 degrees for a week on the job site. You have no issues with handling or any problems, the quality of that protection on that outside barrier. It was very interesting challenge to make this whole thing work because of the high density element in the polyethylene. Nothing wanted to stick to it. So we had to really work with the adhesive laboratory to finally get a blend and the right mixture of the waterproofing adhesive that we use that would actually stick to the polyethylene. So it wasn't an easy process to get there, but nonetheless a well-deserved one. When we finally came up with the blend on the polyethylene and I signed the papers with the manufacturer, I simply asked, how long can we expect this to last? And he informed us at the time that we had a very similar blend that gets used in landfill liners. We can expect hundreds of years of existence without any deterioration of the polyethylene that gets used for that outside barrier. And again, it's a two-step barrier process to protect the post, obviously doing a couple different things. It's keeping the treatment in the post where it belongs. The waterproofing and then with the polyethylene on the outside forms that double barrier, which also protects the outside of the post from the elements that cause rot and decay. And we had to do it. Testing in the beginning before we put one post out in the marketplace. We had to invent the machinery, design it. It was a long, interesting, challenging time till we got everything up and running. And as I say, invented the machine, got the process in, got the code approvals, warranties in place, and knock on wood, after over 20 years, we have not one reported failure of rot or decay.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect that. I mean, especially when you're talking hundreds of years, in similar applications. So, and you're talking about fully preserving the treatment that's in the lumber. So, just to be clear for our listeners, you're not a column manufacturer. What you do is you partner with column manufacturers that will essentially bring a machine in and they will apply the green post to their columns.
Yes.
And so also I noticed in there the notching is that like kind of uplift protection? Is that what the notching is in the columns?
That's exactly what that is. That's something that one of our early general managers came up with, where it's an uplift notch, whereby if you need to take advantage of the uplift, or if you have requirements on your building that either require you to nail blocks or drill and put rebar, you have the option with the uplift notches on the green post to simply drop the post in the ground. And if it's available to do it on the job site and you can have access and get there, you'd pour 18 inches of wet concrete into the hole to get the full value for the uplift notches. And they're substantial. Our code approvals have the full values on it. The builders like it. They're not cutting blocks, they're not nailing blocks, they're not drilling, they're not cutting rebar. So it's kind of falls under the thing that I hear from the contractors constantly, that it doesn't change anything for their installation practices. It's the same as just putting a regular post in the ground, and obviously they like that.
Now, I'm sure you've heard probably lots of stories about it. Installers wanting to do things differently. So I remember you mentioning something about this at the show. So I'll let you tell our listeners. So let's say I'm dead set on rebar. I want to put a stick of rebar and I'm going to drill through it anyway. I'm going to put a stick of rebar in there. Is there something they can apply around that rebar where that connection is the green post to reseal that essentially?
Yes, they can. You can actually use a roof sealant, if you will, a roof repair tube that you can pick up at a hardware store, or obviously at a supply location like yourself if you carry that. And it's just a matter of actually just, sealing that back up where that post comes through. But the thing also to keep in mind, it's not super critical because as you mentioned in your episode podcast, your rot and decay occurs in that top 6-8 inches of the ground line in North America. When you're down as far as the bottom of that post is, it's actually a non-issue.
Yeah, because You're below the line and there's no oxygen flowing, no air blowing around down 4 feet into the ground.
Yeah, there's not, the oxygen is what keeps the biologicals, the bugs, nutrients, whatever's going to eat the wood. They have to have the oxygen to survive. And again, you get below 6, 8 inches of the ground line in North America, there's no longer enough oxygen to support any kind of biological growth that's going to eat the wood.
So everybody, a lot of people, they won't want to talk warranty, right? So if we're talking warranty, is there an official warranty on the Green Post or the product with the Green Post, essentially?
There's a lifetime warranty on the Green Post. And again, it's pretty much mirrored after what the treaters did when we first started. We simply put the lifetime warranty on it after all the testing that we did and the confidence that we had in it, and have not one, again, knock on wood, not one warranty claim in over 20 years.
Yeah, and I would say that it's likely that it's gonna last my lifetime and
Plus,
theirs, and,
and yeah,
you know,
exactly.
so there's also that. I don't wanna get into nasty warranty talks, but, there's also you can say a lifetime warranty and call it 10 years, but, I know what you're saying here. This is, truly going to, it's gonna make it to where that post doesn't fail.
The biggest thing, once you have the Green Post barrier wrap on your post, the only thing you have to worry about is what happens to your post above ground. I mean, if it gets damaged or, somebody backs into it, breaks it, you can stand steadfast that your post isn't going to rot in any of our lifetimes for sure.
I noticed too at the trade show, you had a little piece of the product. I think it was like almost like a cut off of the bottom is what it looked like to me.
Sure. Yes.
And you handed it to me like, here, break this. And I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm wobbling and I'm doing everything I can to break it. I'm like, yeah, this isn't gonna break.
No, it's actually, we hit a home run, not by design, but by evolution when I worked through the, getting the proper blend that we have of the densities. And I cut the bottoms off. If we mount the sample post like you guys had up in the booth, if I mount that onto something hard, I'll cut that bottom off so I have the flat surface that I can fasten it to. And then I take those bottoms, as I did with you, and allow people to see how durable it is. And we've actually tested that in extreme heat conditions for extended periods of time, as well as below zero temperatures for up to a week to see if we could get it to freeze and crack. And it was remarkable. We were shocked to find out that it's as durable as it is. And, again, as I mentioned in speaking with the guys down at the expo, if somebody on the job site drives into it with a set of forks, you still have a wooden post on the inside.
Hmm.
But as far as durability, you throw it on a truck, strap it down, throw it around on the job site, and have no concerns, no issues whatsoever.
So some early feedback that I've got from our clients that have used it is just that it's a little more expensive,
Yes.
the price point, but they say it's worth it because it offsets in the field with labor. Many of the other post products, protection products um, or two piece, right? Even a sister company of ours, Permacolumn, even the Permacolumn, it's a concrete base, but it's multiple pieces that you have to assemble in the field. So, you know, anytime that you can save labor for the guys in the field, they're very interested in that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you guys also mentioned it in your episode 41, especially more so today than ever with the labor force issues that are out there. Yeah, and again, as you mentioned, Permacolumn, Post Protector, each product has their niche in the industry and it's a great alternative. So the biggest thing that, we promote and we support all the products in the market. We want to educate the industry to that homeowner, the building owner. We want to educate them to the fact that we are now dealing for the first time in history with juvenile, faster growing timbers, and we're having issues of premature rot and decay that we have never experienced in history.
Hmm.
So, yeah, definitely, you know, people need to really research and look at and pick what they're comfortable with, what they're willing to spend money on to add that protection for that post that's in the ground if they're putting a post in the ground, or again using the permacolumn.
Yeah, and if you are trying to cut corners or just get a shed built,
That's a
and you're
difference. Yeah,
throwing posts in the ground without protection, that's your choice. To me, as you were saying, the premature lumber, that kind of thing, the treatment not saturated through.
hmm
There's so many reasons why you should protect your column if you're putting it in the ground. But for heaven's sakes, if you are building someone a barnuminium, dude, that is not a corner to cut.
that is exactly right.
That is not a corner to cut. If you're not putting it on a foundation system and you're putting posts in the ground, at a very bare minimum, protect it.
Exactly. Yeah, and the thing, just to touch on it, the traders have informed me, and I showed you guys the pictures that we had where there's missing treatment on posts. And what I have learned from the traders is with this faster growing timber, this juvenile lumber that the industry has been introduced to, there's a lot more heartwood, which is the center of the tree. And it's considered the heartwood is what's called a closed cell fiber of wood. And closed cell simply means it will not allow the treatment to penetrate in that area. And again, historically, we've never experienced that. I have guys now at different shows, different contractor events and supplier events. I've had a handful of guys tell me that they're now seeing rot and decay on some of these plies after 8 or 9 years. And again, historically, that's never been an issue. So it's not the treatment, it's the timbers that we have to use today in the industry.
Right. Exactly. Well, and we do post frame. I mean, that's what we do. And
Yeah,
so if you're putting posts in the ground, you got to have protection. You mentioned post protector and I mentioned permacolumn. There are options out there, folks. Everybody knows that.
absolutely.
But this is a really, really cool one. It's a one-piece deal. You get your post in there. You just, you can strap it down tight. You can and not worry about weather and different things like that. So I love it. We are wrapping the Burroughs offering is the glue lamb. So it's the glue lamb post, finger jointed glue lamb, which is a premium. That's
That's a
probably the best column in the industry.
that,
And then, you wrap it with green post, offers that lifetime warranty. It's like, how could you go wrong for just a little bit more? Right.
right. Yeah.
And to have less labor, as we've mentioned a few times.
And the point that you're making about the glue lamb is absolutely correct. With the glue lamb, for your listeners, it's what's considered KDAT, which is kiln dried after treatment on the lower treated portion of the post. It's engineered, it's stronger. You do not have the issues, especially in the last 8 or 9 years, with your 4x4 or 6x6s being soaking wet with the treatment. And after they go through one season of drying and they dry out, we're getting twisting, cracking, checking. So it eliminates that with your glue lamb. It's stronger. And as far as a cost comparison, once you get this somewhere around 16 or 18 foot in length, my understanding is the glue lamb is equal in price to what a 6x6 would be. So you're ahead of the game with the glue lamb all the way around.
Right. Yeah. I know there's not a big disparity, between those. So you're spot on with that. I'm glad you brought that up because price does kind of it always comes into the
Absolutely.
equation.
Always.
So if anyone has any questions about Green Post, of course, our listeners, if they're a client of ours, or even if not, always could reach out to me to talk Green Post. How can they reach you, Barry, if they want to reach out and talk to you about Green Post?
You can reach me either by phone at 610-773270 or our website. We have a marketing website, which is advancedpostsolutions.com, and it'll show, the full Green Post information on there and gives you, links to see different videos as well as contact us, requests for information and anything that you'd want to know.
Very good. And are you going to be at any other trade shows? I know we'll see you in Columbus next year at the NFBA show.
Yep. Yeah,
Do you
we
guys do
still
any
have
other big trade shows?
York, Pennsylvania is coming up. I think it's June. I know Greg Silvestri told me that they'll be there with the permacolumn and
Hmm.
I believe footing pad, I think. So yeah, we'll be attending that. Plus we do anytime that, a supplier, somebody like yourself has an event, a contractor's day, we come in, we'll set up booth or, support you guys in any way, shape, or form. And we do that. We have a bunch of the contractor breakfasts coming up here for the next 30 days. So yeah, we're constantly
Okay.
doing that kind of support to help everybody out.
Well, maybe we could consider that at some point,
Absolutely.
when we have a contractor event, have you in for that. And no, that's amazing. I did get a question from one of my sales reps yesterday, and I gave him your contact information. Not sure if he's reached out yet, but Permacolumn has these really cool little tabletop
Very good.
things. Yeah, little concrete column and and it's nice because it's something easy to carry around. It's
Yes.
to show people, or we have a client that has a storefront. Do you have anything that would be easy for our sales guys to carry around and or occasionally leave with a client if they're very interested and want a sample for themselves?
As of today, what we typically will do, Josh, is we'll take a 3-ply 2x6 and we'll put the notches on it. We'll put 28 inches of wrap and we'll cut it to 34 inches in length. So it's still a lot more bulky than that ideal small post sample that you guys have with the permacolumn. But we're checking with, I've had discussions on the permacolumn end with he called it a sample shop actually, to see if there's something that we can come up with more along the size, what you said. I actually made a bunch of those in the early days back in early 2000, just made them by hand. Actually, it's unbelievable how long it took. The challenge I ran into is as soon as they got these little 3x3 samples in their hand, they wanted to know if they could get posts with 3x3 with the Greek posts on it. And we
Yeah.
obviously don't have the ability to do that. But no, we're looking into that. Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll definitely want to get some of those 30-inch samples sent to the office so that our clients can come in and we can keep one inside the front office as well as, have those available for our sales team to show our clients. So if you're listening, we'll have those for you soon.
I also spoke with Travis up at Richland and let him know that because Brian had asked for some of the small samples. So he indicated that he was going to get those together for you.
Okay. Very good. All righty. Well, we are nearing the end of our podcast here. Do you have any final parting words for the listeners of Post Frame 360, Barry?
Actually, the main thing is in today's day and age, if you are going to put wood in the ground, research everything that's out there available and find something that you're comfortable with, that you can justify spending the money on, and protect that post in the ground. You will not be sorry.
I agree. Well said. Now, listen, if you're listening and you like this episode, please share it. Please share it with your friends and family. Like and subscribe to the podcast. And until next time, thanks, Barry. We'll see you soon, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Take care.